Hey guys, Magic Man here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a game in the Tier 6 British cruiser, the Leander. And this cruiser, in its current form that you're seeing right now, is the unupgraded version. I have the stock hull, the stock range module, and I have the stock torpedoes. Once you upgrade those things, this becomes a fairly good ship. Right now my range is restricted to 12 kilometers, which at tier 6 is pretty pathetic. And in some games I do find it very hard, especially in tier 8 or 7 games, and this is actually a tier 8 game. And people usually tend to stay at range the higher you go in the tiers, so I knew when I started this game it was probably going to be a struggle for me to get into range of other ships and hit them. And I actually started slowing down right here, just because I felt like this might be a good position to start smacking some ships. But unfortunately that destroyer comes around the south side of that island instead of going in between the channel like they normally do, which I was not expecting, and I actually get spotted. Now I do have concealment expert on my captain, so I've got my detection range down to 8.8 kilometers, which is pretty good for a cruiser. You know, if you can get anything under 9 kilometers in a cruiser, you're doing really well for concealment. And that ship definitely has this. I just wish it had a little bit more range, but that might make it a little bit overpowered if it had this great a concealment with that extra range. As you can see there in the middle of my screen, somebody recommended the Navigator mod to me, which is what you're seeing right there with the ship angle relative to mine. And the enemy ship angle flashes yellow, red, or green to sort of give you an idea of penetration angles. If it's green, it means you're probably always going to penetrate as long as you have the penetration. And then yellow is kind of like it might auto bounce, and red is a definite auto bounce. So I actually smoked up here, and I'm not moving forward at this point. That Miyoko that was basically backing up into me was forcing my ship forwards. That was kind of a dangerous situation, because being pushed out in the middle of the open with a hood on my right and a Graf Spee right in front of me would have been some really bad news. But anyways, once you get the Leander upgraded, the upgraded range module will give you 13.2 kilometers range. The torpedoes, once they're upgraded, they gain 2 knots of speed, and you gain 2 kilometers of range, so they go from 6 kilometers up to 8-kilometer torpedoes, which is pretty nice. And I thought this guy was going to turn in an angle against this North Carolina that's over here behind me to my left, but it looks like he's just going to go full broadside to him, which, once again, I always expect people to do the smart thing, but it seems like more and more people are just not interested in doing this smart thing. So this guy is just basically sailing broadside on to a battleship, and it's going to end poorly for him, as you can see right there. It looks like that's a Tirpitz behind me. I thought it was a North Carolina. And this destroyer right here took a torpedo for really no reason, because those torpedoes were spotted long before he was coming up in this direction. That was another dumb move. But the Leander is a pretty good cruiser for basically defending caps, which is what I'm trying to do here. Sorry for all the jerkiness of the screen. I'm just trying to get a good idea of what's going on in my surroundings, because I don't want to end up getting shot in the side by a battleship because I wasn't paying attention to what was going on. And I'm just trying to keep this guy, and it looks like he might be straightening up. I just kind of put a little bit of a torpedo everywhere. Hopefully I can hit each section of his ship that isn't saturated with damage and do the max amount of damage I can and take this guy out. Yeah, and it looks like I'm gonna land him right a little bit more in the midship, but doesn't matter. Still get enough torpedoes on that hood to take him out. And it looks like we've got the A-cap under control. The only ship that's still over here is in Edinburgh, and it looks like he is running away. So that's good for us. It looks like our team on the other side of the map isn't doing so great. They've lost both of their supporting cruisers, and it's just the 3 battleships over there now. Although, luckily for them, it just looks like it's probably a cruiser and 3 battleships that they're going up against. So right now, my team definitely has the advantage since we've wiped out all of the enemy ships over here at A. Now, I've talked about the range and the torpedoes on this ship once you upgrade them. Once you upgrade the hull, basically all you're going to get is a little bit better AA, and you're going to get a little bit more maneuverability. I think the rudder shift drops from, I think it's actually exactly 11 seconds in its stock form, and it drops down to 7.8 once you get the hull upgrade. And then you also get, I think, another 4,000 points of health, so it brings your health pool up to like 2,800. Because right now at 2,400, it's, well, 24,000. You have a relatively small health pool for a tier 6 ship. So that is definitely something hard to work with, which is why I was staying very close to cover. If there's one thing I've learned in the British cruisers, it's to never stray too far from cover in case you get in a bad spot. And right now there's not a whole lot going on here. I'm basically trying to sell the other side of the map as quickly as I can. And it looks like our Shiratsuyu has taken out the enemy destroyer, and he's in a pretty good position. And this guy, unfortunately, keeps blinking in and out of detection. Need our destroyer over there to get line of sight on him again. And the one thing that I do like about the Leander as compared to the Emerald, the Leander, although it loses a torpedo tube on each side of the ship, and it only has 1 launcher on each side, it feels like the shells have a little bit better arcs. The armor-piercing shells on the Tier 5, the Emerald, they felt really floaty at range, whereas the Leander shells, they feel, I don't know, closer to like a German cruiser as far as the velocity and shell arcs are concerned. I feel a lot more comfortable shooting cruisers with these shells than any of the other previous cruisers. And this guy is angling just enough where I can't penetrate a citadel, which is unfortunate. And I probably should be moving forward here. I don't want to continue to go the same course and speed, mainly because I'm worried that this guy might single launch some torpedoes at me and really ruin my day. Doing what I can to try and save my friendly destroyer there, but unfortunately for me, it just didn't quite work out. He was a little bit too close to that Edinburgh, and he ends up losing his ship because of it. And I actually pop hydroacoustic here because I really am worried about the threat of torpedoes, and that was a bad shot on my part. Still get rewarded though with 1 penetration. And at these ranges, can't really miss. But I smoke up here because I felt like I was pretty close to killing him, and I didn't want to take more damage than was necessary to take this guy out, because I might need my relatively small health pool when it comes to fighting the rest of these guys on the team. And I actually end up missing that shot. Yeah, and there are the torpedoes. He fired them way ahead. I guess he didn't expect me to slow down here. And this Otago is actually almost at the very extreme of my range here. And it doesn't look like I'm going to hit him because he's actually backing up. He is reversing, which will why you would be reversing right now. I'm not quite sure. I guess he doesn't want to get shot at by a battleship, probably. But I'm basically going to reverse around this island because the last two enemy battleships are pushing in, and there was the torpedoes from the other side of that Edinburgh. He was really gunning for me. But I'm going to reverse around this island right here, try and put myself into a position where I can fire on the enemy battleships as they start coming into the sea cap. If they start to come into the sea cap, I never know with people in random battles. Sometimes they just don't do the smartest thing. And I was really worried that we were going to lose both our Scharnhorst and our Tirpitz right here, because with both of them sailing in like they're doing right now, basically broadside on to the targets, I was like, man, all it's going to take is you know, two good salvos, one from the Amagi, one from the Bismarck, and that Tirpitz is going to be gone. The Scharnhorst got deleted, as you saw there. And hopefully somebody can get in here and do something about these guys. I've got to put myself in a position where if I need to, I can get the heck out of Dodge really quickly. And it looks like he's actually doing a fair amount of damage to that Amagi, considering that he had about 30,000 points of health. I'm guessing it's probably all the fire damage and everything. And I'm going to fire unsmoked here because I felt like I was fairly safe. If this Amagi gets killed, it's basically going to be game over for the enemy team because now they're just so far behind in points. There's not really any way that they can win. So basically all this is now is just a basically just a turkey shoot on this Bismarck. And it looks like he is, yeah, he's going to be turning away. He doesn't want to get very close to me. I don't blame him. Although the Bismarck does has hydroacoustic, so I was a little bit worried about that. I didn't know if he was going to charge my smoke screen with it up, but it doesn't look like he's really interested in doing that. Instead, he turns and goes after the cruiser that he can see in front of him, which is that Graf Spee. Which is fine by me because it allows me to get in quite a bit of damage on this guy. And I don't think he really is understanding, you know, I'm doing like 3,000 to 5,000 damage every salvo, and now I'm not going to be quite doing as much because my back guns are cut off, but pumping that out every 7 seconds, man, the damage really does add up very quickly. And yeah, I'm just sinking my back turret shots straight into the island, which is unfortunate. But that Bismarck is putting himself in a very bad situation. He's basically sandwiching himself between that Graf Spee and that New Mexico. Now, if that New Mexico were aiming just a little bit higher, he could probably take out that Bismarck, but he's kind of hitting him in the lower part of his ship and bouncing a bunch of his shells. But at this point, we basically won the game. We've captured all the capture points, and we're like, I don't know, 20 points away from winning at this point. So this game is basically over. I'm just going to do a reverse victory lap here. And yeah. So move on to results for the Leander. Even in its stock form, you know, stock range, stock hull, stock torpedoes, it's still a pretty good ship. And once I get those upgraded, man, it's even going to be just that much better. So, you know, actually did 104,000 damage this game and sunk 2 ships. Almost got 2,000 base experience off of this game, and this was a tier 8 game. And the one thing the Leander has got going for it is it has better shell arcs than the previous tier cruiser, and it has a turret set up now, so it's got that going for it, and the smoke screen. But we did about, you know, 30 to 20,000 points of damage on 3 different ships, and then picked on the Graf Spee a little bit. Most of our damage came from our armor piercing, about 75,000 of it, and then another 30 came from the torpedoes when we've torpedoed that hood. And you know, it didn't do too bad on making some credits either, so that was pretty nice too. But yeah, Leander, it's a great ship, gonna get better. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more. So moving on to results.